Welcome to Training Talk, your weekly fitness digest. I'm Jeffro Trainer. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Today we're going to be hitting a subject close to my heart, controversial. Let's talk about HIIT training. HIIT, burpees, box jumps, battle ropes, lunges, etc., etc. It's sexy, it's fun, it's topical. But is it the silver bullet that everyone's talking about? Are you a massive fan? Are you watching this because you just love it and you want to talk about it? Are you on the other side of the fence? Are you potentially someone watching this who knows all about it but doesn't really do it? Hey, we've all got something to say on this subject, and today we're going to have a bit of a mock HIIT session. I'm going to run my rule over it and just give my raw opinion. Hopefully, it entertains you. And hey, the whole point of this program is for us to talk about training, separated from the sales. So separate from trying to sell you stuff or give you loads of knowledge. Let's just digress. Obviously, I've been doing this a long time, so hopefully if if me talking about it motivates you or gets you doing it, amazing. So first off, when it comes to HIIT training, similar to the CrossFit community, I want to make it clear that I absolutely love the energy and intensity that people are putting into HIIT training, CrossFit, intensive classes. Hey, and there's different levels. So what I'm going to talk about today is just my kind of things that bug me personally. See if you share the same opinion. See if you don't. A lot of it's just an educated opinion on my level. So, HIIT training. HIIT training stands for high intensity interval training. Now, the background on this stuff is it's kind of think 1 minute on, 1 minute off. So when it comes to our intervals, we take your heart rate up and down, up and down. So you see this? So typical interval session, your heart should go up, down, up, down, up, down. That's the interval aspect, right? High intensity is about your heart rate. So normally, you put a heart rate monitor on someone, you target getting above 140 at the high points, above 140, and then you suddenly bring it down 1 minute on, 1 minute off. So that's just science on what high intensity interval training is. So question 1, is this method of training, this magic bullet, does it do everything? Is it the only version we need? Can we just now kind of chill and go boom, 1 minute on, 1 minute off, there's your format, off you go? Yeah. Some of you out there might think, it's interesting, it's fun, it's got all these ways I can do it, and it's how I like training. That's fine. That's kind of one camp. Other side of the fence, there might be a lot of you out there that never do it. Just, for whatever reason that is, just have mixed opinions on it and just don't really do it. Third group out there might have maybe done it and not got the results. Yeah. So obviously my whole motivation always is, where does the sales stop with this stuff? When does the bona fide fitness, strength, power, conversations and methods come to the table, right? So I've always fought hard with HIIT training. I've always had great gym athletes around me that have wanted to do it, and I've developed formats for it. So this is an opinion, but it's also, I've had to apply it a lot. So my take, my position on HIIT training. And I'll give you a bit of background. From about a year in to PT, and it wasn't massive. HIIT training wasn't really a term in 2010. It started to get bigger, and circuits was a big term. Circuit classes were a big thing, and boot camps started to kind of get popular, military type fitness. So my own background with HIIT training, should I say, it really started with circuits. HIIT is this concept, this sales term. Sorry, I'm going to say it. I think HIIT is a sales term now. I think HIIT is sexy. I think if you put HIIT, I've put HIIT on this video, if you show explosive moves, if I stand in a gym with some pads and I do group fitness and it's called HIIT, then obviously I'm gonna have more attention. But, right, when the sale stops and you're with the HIIT format, where do you go? So that's my kind of angle on HIIT training, is I look and it just seems to be everything. Let's break it down. Let's go deeper on this subject, and I can clarify kind of the 3 or 4 main things that I want you to think about and that I think about with HIIT. So number 1 is the timings. So normally with an interval kind of workout, you've got rest periods, and normally you're kind of basing it all on 1 minute or 30 seconds, 1 minute, 30 seconds, 1 on, 1 off, because that's interval. Remember, as I said at the start, interval is up and down. That's the textbook. So that's the framework where we go on there, now rest, on there, now rest. That's intervals. If it's not that, and if you're just going on there, then on there, with no gap, that's a circuit. Right, so this is what I talk about with the number 1 problem for me as a coach is with an interval format. Someone goes, I want to do a HIIT circuit, and you go, all right, but suddenly I'm taking away that rest, so it's not a HIIT format and it was a circuit, because the circuit is staying up, right, rather than up, down, up, down. So my number 1 issue with the HIIT format is, because it's become this blanket term, it can be a little bit confusing, because you're saying to someone, right, do a HIIT workout, have 30 to 45 seconds rest. Now, resting periods within a workout are everything. If you're having a minute off, that's a big rest period to have. Conversely, if you have 30 seconds off, so the timings leads, I believe, to some confusions, because everyone's working for a minute really hard and then they're dropping. So that's my first issue with HIIT, is the timings method. Although people think they're really clear about the timings, things change when you train. So you can't always, you don't always need a rest, and you can't always do things for a minute. So my first issue, timings. Issue 2, strict form. I do this job, and I know most people, when they're in the gym, are focused on technique, good form. Most people are going to train with a coach, or are concerned, and rightly so, that they don't know how to do something correctly. So my second challenge to the HIIT format, when you are doing things under a timed basis, you can't just approach every exercise in a timed method. You can't. I mean, it goes against strict form. Here's an example. Here's our kind of mock workout. Let's check this out. A burpee type movement, so a big bang exercise to really kind of get you pumped. A plank type movement, so something kind of face down. A lunge type movement, okay, forwards or backwards. A jumping jacks or a star jump type movement, okay? So these are your classic kind of 4 angles for your HIIT training that you're going to see on most exercises. You're going to see something that really gets the blood pumping and you need a rest from, and then you're going to get, you're going up and down. So you're trying to get movements that you kind of can't do, movements you can, and get this big exhaustion that is obviously the normal return from a proper HIIT workout. Now, herein lies my challenge to the HIIT format, is some of those movements, if you do everything for 30 seconds or a minute, these are strength exercises, So a burpee, you're doing that for a minute, right? Okay, so you're exhausted. Then you've got your plank version. Now, if you tell someone to do a plank for a minute, 9 out of 10 people are going to drop into a bad body shape, because they're obviously looking at the time, right? They want to do it for a minute. They don't want to just collapse. So they're kind of not, even on, dare I say, on videos where it seems like their bum's a little bit too high, it doesn't seem like they're actually in a proper plank. And they've got touches. So again, those types of variations. Can you really do it for a minute? Lunges. You could do a lunge for a minute if you want, but isn't a lunge supposed to build muscle in the legs, right? And then finally, your star jumps. Now, star jumps or jumping jacks are legitimate 1+ minute exercises. So my second point or segment on HIIT training is, isn't that strength training? Aren't they strength exercises? If you say to someone, here's a HIIT routine, what have you taught someone? Here's 4 exercises that do completely different things, and you're going to be exhausted and tired, but because your timings are so 1 minute on, 1 minute off, you've taken a load of strength exercises, 1 cardio exercise, and you're not actually going to get stronger because your timings are in a HIIT style. So, HIIT training, argument 2 is confused format. It's a format that's sexy, but the movements that you're doing go against strict form because your timings are all wrong. So, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're standing there going, no, I love doing those. I get really strong. That's my second. Now, overall, I'm going to throw it out there, and whether anyone agrees or not, is, to me, HIIT training is fast food with ketchup. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean is everyone loves a greasy takeaway, right? And when you get that big bag of chips, you need your ketchup, right? So for me, when I see a HIIT routine, I see a good takeaway. I see a good product. You're going to eat it. You're going to dump a load of ketchup on it. You're going to, that tasted delicious. That was great. I love it. That's all I want. I just want 3 takeaways a week. Great. The issue comes in that if I give you a takeaway 3 times a week, what have you learned? How have you learned to train? How is that square meal? How is doing everything 1 minute on, 1 minute off giving you a platform to build your program, to build your training goal? So, as a roundup for you, hopefully my madness makes sense. But what I'm looking at with this is HIIT training, is it this magic bullet? And am I wrong? And is it the way to train? Right? Is it that? Do you believe it's that? Or on the other side of the fence, do you see it as something, when you see people doing HIIT style training in the gym, do you see it as something that's a little bit confused, a little bit, lots of movements done badly? Again, I'll reiterate the point I made earlier. There are some hardcore people out there doing HIIT workouts and doing them well, So, hey, I'm just going on the what I'm seeing and my take on it, and hopefully that makes sense.